I'm going to let you guys know right off the bat, my jaw has been decent today. However, it is starting to flare up a little bit because I have been talking a little bit this afternoon. So I'm going to do as many reads as I can tonight. Chances are that I may have to put some off, just so you guys know. I am going to start with the channeled reads from the 11th and get you guys done. But I'm pretty sure after speaking to the doctor that this is nasty TMJ. I got a whole bunch of things in today, a face mask, learned some massage techniques, etc., and they have been helping tremendously. But this is dumb. I just want to say this is dumb. Also, we're under a wind advisory here, and the internet has been in and out. Even though I have fiber, why it's been in and out, I don't know. We're supposed to have severe weather here tonight. It's supposed to be calm tomorrow. And then all weekend, it's supposed to be severe weather. So if you guys are in the path of any of these severe weather things, I know Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, for sure. And then I know Arkansas, Missouri, etc. Y'all, please, please, please be cautious. Be careful. Okay? Because I'm worried that this storm season is going to be way worse than last year and worse than the ones before. Thank you, Miss Joy. How are you? You're getting a blizzard in northern Minnesota. Oh my God. Me too, Tabitha. I have legitimately now been sick for over 3 weeks straight. And I'm kind of done. Except I will say now I don't have any sinus junk left. It's just this jaw. And after talking to the doctor and talking to Sass, Brett and Tabitha, and those of you guys that were at Hell House, you will understand when I say this. It was so cold in there, and we were clenching our jaws and shivering so hard. That is probably what exacerbated this. And then getting a sinus infection on top of it just made it worse. Thank you, Star. Just made it worse. So I have been sleeping with a heating pad or, well, rotating cooling packs. I got in a couple of things today. I got a jaw sling in today, a mouth guard. Like, I ought to look really great when I go to sleep. It'll be funny. What's up, Miss Bloody Mary? Let's see here. So I pinned Miss Bloody Mary's comment right there on TikTok. I know y'all over on YouTube can't see her. If you guys don't follow her, please do. Please do. Y'all know that I don't really like push other people a super lot unless I know them. Miss Mary knows her shit. Miss Mary knows her shit. And y'all know that I love me some New Orleans, and I need to come visit because it's been a year and I'm getting the itch. But if y'all are in New Orleans, she has a museum. She has all kinds of locales. She does tours. She does, just seriously, just follow her. Just follow her. I'm just saying, just follow her. Fall down the rabbit hole with her content and all the cool stuff she does. I'm just saying, that woman knows her shit. I actually have asked her for advice a couple of times. So that should tell you right there how much I think of her. So, Miss Mary, I hope you're doing well. I need to come visit. I'm getting the itch. It's been over a year since I've got to come down. So I may have to come down in May. I don't have anything in May. Just saying. But thank you guys for following her. Yeah, totally fall down the rabbit hole with her content. She has some really, really cool stuff. I'll reach out and let you know, Mary. May right now, knock on wood, is the only month that I don't have an event where I have to be somewhere. And I try to get to New Orleans at least twice a year. And like I said, it's been over a year, and I need to come make my offerings. I need to come make my offerings. I need to come just hang. So I'm going to start with my list From the 11th, I'm catching up on some channeled reads. Like I mentioned, since now a lot of you guys are getting in here, if my jaw starts to flare up a little bit, I will probably have to, yeah, just saying. It's a week. Okay. Okay. I'll message you. We'll do some planning and some scheming. But if you guys are headed to New Orleans anytime soon, there you go. There's the person that you need to look at doing a tour with and all that fun stuff, okay? It's not so much tooth, it's my whole jaw from like here to here. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. And there's Miss Gail. Hey, Miss Gail. I'll pin her as well if she'll. Will you make a comment, Miss Gail, so that way I can pin yours? There she is. So here's your other one to follow for. Oh, let me do that. There's your other one to follow, especially if you guys are in Texas. Miss Gail has been helping me out with a lot of stuff, and she knows her shit as well. So I love me some Gail. So y'all make sure you go follow her as well, okay? Two amazing ladies that know their shit. So first on my list is Miss Aimee Tillman. For those of you guys that want to get on the lists for mediumship readings, I am going to change the way that I do my mediumship readings because I love doing them. I love doing them on TikTok and on YouTube for you guys, but it does not give me the chance to interact with you in a way like with a gallery read. So I am going to start holding them on Zoom, and then y'all can watch on YouTube, TikTok, etc. No, I won't show you in person, so don't stress about it. But I love the interaction of a gallery read and having you right there in front of me, you know, or whatever. So that way I can see your face. I can see you nod or something like that. So I'm going to start restructuring how I do those things. But yeah. Miss Aimee Tillman is first, right? So Miss Aimee, the very first thing I started to see when I was pulling in spirit, your spirit guides, all the things, I literally saw pink bubblegum. And I mean like if a little kid had learned to blow a bubble and then accidentally spit the bubble out on the ground. Do you know what I mean? Where you're like, oh. There's a lot of inner child work that is popping up for you lately. A lot of things that I would say shadow work wise, I would say childhood traumas, etc., that are popping up that need to be, there's two things that need to happen with them. One, they need to be addressed. They need to be brought out into the open. They need to be talked about. And two, they need to be allowed to run their course. A lot of times when it comes to inner child work, sometimes the simplest way to deal with it is to do it. You didn't get to go to Chuck E. Cheese for your birthday when you were 11. Go to fucking Chuck E. Cheese. I mean, it's literally that. When people say that they are reliving their childhood through different things, that is a form of inner child work. I don't agree with trying to live your stuff through your kids. However, you can 100% as an adult go back and relive some of the amazing things that you didn't get to do as a kid. Now that you're an adult, you'll appreciate them even more. Um, there's a lot of things that have been popping up, and I think that they've been causing you dream issues. I don't want to say nightmares, because these are just you having dreams where you're trying to work through some things, where you're trying to deal with some particular things. And because of this, it's causing your sleep to be disrupted. It's causing you to wake up with dreams where you would swear you need to call somebody that has passed away years and years ago. Or you would swear that you were just 13 or 6 and doing this. So, Aimee, I'm going to highly, highly recommend acknowledging those things and bringing them out into the open, whether it is speaking them out loud to significant other, a best friend, a parent, a sibling, whatever, or writing them down. You need to have them out in the open, okay? And then start dealing with them. I want to tell you guys a way that I was taught to kind of deal with bullies when I was a kid. And it's something my grandma taught me. And it's something that after I researched a lot about it as an adult, I'll tell you why. So my grandma taught me. My grandma used to make pies and stuff all the time. And she would always make extra dough for us to play in. It's so funny. We would play in it, make shapes out of it, etc. So we would make, let's say I told my grandma that someone was bullying me, because this happened when I was in 1st grade. It was before we moved to Colorado. And there was a kid at school who was bullying me. And my grandma said, well, let's just make a little person. She was like, I want you to make a little person out of this pie dough that is this kid. I can't remember his name now, which is fine. So she had me make an effigy of him, okay? A poppet. And I made this poppet and put little eyes and nose. She even told me it needs a face, put its eyes, put its mouth, okay? And then we left him on the counter and let him dry, okay? Let him harden up. Now, if you know anything about homemade pie dough, it gets really flaky. As if you just leave it out and you don't bake it, it gets really flaky. Eventually, it gets really hard, okay? So when it started to get a little hard, she popped it in the oven and we baked him, okay? And on purpose, now that I look back as an adult, she let him bake a little too long. He wasn't burnt, but he was a little toasty. And when she pulled him out of the oven, she said, now we're going to let him cool off, and then we're going to do something fun. So, I mean, I'm in 1st grade, so I'm like, okay, When he cooled off, we took him outside. And my grandparents had built the house that they were living in. And they had, a big long driveway, big concrete walkways all the way around. We went outside and we found a place over on the side of the house. And she handed him to me and she said, I want you to bust this. Throw it as hard as you can at the sidewalk. And at first I wasn't quite sure, because my grandma had never, ever wanted me to break something. I'd always gotten in trouble for thinking I was going to break something. And so after a minute of her reassuring me that I wasn't going to get in trouble and that I needed to bust this pie dough person, I did. With all my little 1st grade might, I lifted it up above my head and I slammed it on the ground. And we watched it go. And my grandma kind of smiled and she said, he won't ever bother you again. And she was right, because that was a Saturday. The next week was, normal school. He wasn't there Monday or Tuesday. And on Wednesday, he came into class to get his stuff because he was moving to a different school. And then I moved to Colorado a little bit after that. But that has always stuck with me. And so the reason I'm bringing this up, Aimee, is because I feel like you needed to hear it. when we have somebody that's causing us problems, there's some kind of tie there. When you have somebody that is a childhood trauma relationship, I kind of said it that way on purpose, you need a symbolic and physical way of representing those things and getting rid of them. So what I find really interesting is that whenever I started to learn and fall down the rabbit hole with a ton of different practices, did you know, this is not the only culture that did this, but this one is one of the most fantastical ones, that the Greeks, the ancient Greeks would have a seer, a witch, an oracle, whatever you want to call them, that would deal with problems. If you went to her and you wanted someone removed out of your life, or you wanted to curse someone or whatever, they would give you a list of ingredients to go and get. Thank you, Miss Eunice. Now, these ingredients would not be something, some of them would be common. Horse shit, water from the sea. Some of them would be very hard to find. In other words, you really had to test yourself. Do you really want those ingredients? How bad do you really want to do this working? And if you came back to this person with all the ingredients they asked for, they would make a clay jar and they would put the ingredients into the clay. On the jar, they would carve the person's name, they would carve everything about the person, about the situation, etc. Then they would let the jar bake. They would let it bake in the sun. And on a specific moon phase, depending on what this was for, you would come back to that person and then you would bust the jar. The person would pick up a few pieces and you would pick up the other pieces, and your charge was then to go and scatter all the pieces. Thank you, Miss Amy. Your job was to take the pieces you were given and hide them in different places. The other pieces, she would powder, or this person would powder. In other words, you are never putting that jar back together again. Not only would they powder those pieces, but they would scatter it in the wind. Once it was done, it was done. It was unremovable. So the thought that this type of practice has been around in multiple cultures and still survives today. Thank you, Miss Scarley. It's something you can do, especially with inner child work, to eradicate some things from your path symbolically and physically. I felt like you needed to know that. Inner child work is not hard. It's really not. In fact, in my opinion, my professional opinion, it is one of the easiest types of things that you can work through, that you can start to work through. Because it's so much easier as an adult to look back and go, man, I was a shit when I was younger. Or to go, man, that person really took advantage of me. It's really easy to see as an adult where something affected you as a child. But you do still have to do it. Okay? So I hope that helped, Amy. I hope that helped. So I feel weird like holding my face, but it is what it is. Oh, thank you, Christine. No, that's my fault. The Oracle consultations for tomorrow, Christine thankfully pointed out my brain error, will be at 7, not at 6 Central. 6 Central is astrology class. Thanks, Christine. I appreciate you being the adult in my life today. So I will get that changed. I love that. Betty Jean said, your lives are better than any therapy I've gone through. I'm so glad that I can help in any way. All right, Miss Angellea, you are next. My list is still open for tonight, but I just want to let you guys know that my jaw is not doing super great, so I don't know how many I will get through this evening. If I don't get to yours this evening, then I will send you a message because I have a different way that I would like to do these from now on. All right, Miss Angellea. This is interesting. I started seeing green, purple, green, purple, green, purple, and then I realized it was like a parasol or something round, like an awning or an umbrella or something. It's green and purple, bright green, bright purple. But the thing is, I don't think this is something real. I think this is just something that spirits are showing me for you. So I would look up, a lot of times with these channeled reads, guys, a lot of the things are, even though I'm going to explain them to you, a lot of the things I will say, hey, this is for you to look up. Purple is a very spiritual color. It is a color of nostalgia. It's a color of spirit itself. It's a color of you being a spiritual person. Green is health. Green is analysis, being analytical. Green is success. Green is money. An umbrella protects you from the elements. So seeing that umbrella as I was channeling this read for you, Angellea, is interesting. You guys don't realize, you might see videos, you might hear people talking about it, but you don't realize that your health is connected to your spiritual self. Your success is connected to your spiritual self. And it doesn't matter what you practice. It doesn't matter what you practice. Okay? Every single spiritual practice believes in faith of some sort. And that's really the basis of it. If you're a Christian, you give faith to, you know, the Holy Trinity or Jesus or God or Mother Mary. You give your faith that they will see you through something. In witchcraft, in Wicca, in pagan practices, you give your faith to the deities that you work with, your spirit team, your ancestors, the universe. Everything around you, even though I can physically touch these cards, they're still atoms. And in between each one of these atoms is space. Everything has an infinite amount of space in and around it. Everything has a frequency. How many times have you guys gone into a spiritual shop and you've picked up, let's say you pick up these bracelets, okay? And you're like, oh God, I need both of these. But this one gets warm when I hold it. Why is this one warm when I hold it? So instead of buying both of them, you end up buying this one because the vibe of this stone meshed with your vibe. And you were like, oh, this is my rock, right? How many times have you been going in to look for a deck of cards? And you were like, oh, I love the artwork on that one. I love that one. But then this one over here, you kept going back to it and you ended up with that deck. How many times have you went somewhere with the full intention of doing one thing and then did something completely different because of how you felt, because of the vibe of that place, of that person? everything is a frequency. Everything is a vibe. Everything is energy. So, Angellea, seeing an umbrella with those two colors on it tells me that it's time for you to do two things. For you to level up your practice, your warding, your protections, your workings, your jars, etc., to level those things up, and also to go back to the basics that you learned. I made a video yesterday, today. I've made a lot of videos where I'm talking about the 4/4 portal that's coming up. I'm having to slow down my talking. I'm sorry. This thing is flaring up. The 4/4 portal is coming up. And you're going to hear people say, oh, you have to do this big ritual, and you have to do this, and you have to do that. And you don't. You don't. Sometimes the simplest things in your practice, the cornerstones of your practice, are exactly what you need to do. You don't have to go out and fill a whole table with candles. You don't have to sit up all night or all day channeling energy. You don't have to do shit. You literally can take a shower in the morning like you always do. And while you're in that shower, you're washing away all of the things that have been holding you back. It's symbolic. You can literally go outside and put your feet on the dirt, on the grass. Or if it's snowing, maybe keep your shoes on. But go outside and breathe in the fresh air. And as you're breathing out everything that's old, that's been stuck in there, breathe out as much as you can. Every single one of us has a junk drawer in our house with birthday candles. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But the easiest things that we were taught to do, right when we started our practice. Thanks, Scarly. The easiest things that we were taught to do, the fundamentals, the basics, are exactly what we also need to keep up as we keep going. Yes, level up. Yes, add to it. Yes, do more things. Yes, be bougie. Yes, do all the candles. Yes, do all the things. But don't forget the basics. Don't forget the foundations. Don't forget that you are energy just like everything else. Okay, Miss Angellea? This is so much fun. I love to talk. So not being able to talk is dumb. Is dumb. Is dumb. I just want you guys to know that. All right, Miss Heidi Gilbert. So when I started channeling your energy, the very first thing I saw was this humongous tree, this big oak tree. And then I started hearing the old song of Taya Yolo, living around the old oak tree. I don't know why I started hearing that song, but I did. I have a feeling that this is actually somebody that's passed away, that has been trying. They've either been trying to communicate with you or trying to, I think that you didn't talk to them a lot when they were here, and you don't feel like you need to talk to them now that they've passed. I understand that on a very deep level. Okay? I understand that on a very, very deep level. I'm not saying you need to talk to this man. What I am saying, though, is that he is trying to make amends. He is 100% trying to help. He makes me feel like there is something that's coming that is going to be a big, huge challenge. And he is trying to do whatever he can to help you before it comes. It's not his way of righting all the wrongs, but it's his way of trying to help you now. Again, I'm not saying that you need to forgive him. I'm not saying you need to be, you know, super spirit friends. I'm not saying that you need to do any of that shit. But I have a feeling a lot of signs have been showing up. I have a feeling a lot of dreams have been coming about. A lot of things that have reminded you of him have been popping up. Having someone from beyond help you is always a fantastic thing, especially if it's an ancestor. Not all ancestors are good, but having him help you is a fantastic thing. Let him, okay? You don't owe him anything. He is trying to help you. Here's what he showed me. He showed me you, and he showed me someone else. I am going to assume that this is your daughter, because it's like an exact replica of you, but this. There's two paths. The path, it's like a brown glowing line, like if it was string. And the tree is here in the middle, and they come up like this, and then they come together, and then it's a dual path. But there is something specific that is keeping the two of you on each side of this tree right now, and he's trying to fix that, okay? Thank you, Miss Kim, for upgrading over there. He's trying to help the two of you get to this tree and then move past it. The oak tree represents protection. The oak tree is a very, very powerful symbol in a lot of different cultures. And I would highly recommend looking up the spiritual meaning behind the oak tree. But the fact that he specifically brought that up, and then he started playing that song for me in my head. Don't discount his help just yet. Okay? Don't discount his help just yet. Let him help you. I'm going to try to get through Miss Kaylee's, and then we'll go from there. One of the things that you guys don't see, I didn't talk a lot yesterday. I tried not to, because I knew that Monday nights are a night I talk a long time. After my live last night, I went downstairs. I'm not gonna lie, I was in tears for a while after I got done last night. So I slept with a heating pad on my face for the first few hours, and then I switched to a cold pack. I was up every couple of nights every couple hours taking ibuprofen and Tylenol. And so I had a stomach ache, because that shit tears your stomach up, and I haven't really been able to eat. So I really have tried to be as quiet as possible today. And I am going to say this, even though it's hurting right now, this is nowhere near what it was. It's nowhere near. It's nowhere near. It still hurts, and it's hurting to even move the hinge in my jaw. But it is absolutely nowhere near what it was. So I'm going to do Miss Kaylee's. And then I only have two more, Lena and Susan, from the 11th. I'm going to try to at least get through you guys. Okay? And then go from there. So yeah, but we're gonna pause just a little bit. We're gonna pause for a minute. So yeah, feel free at any time to do my favorite part. Really, Christine, that's interesting. They fixed yours when they did. So when you got your implants, it fixed this. Oh, thank you, Miss Kim, for the gift. Yeah, I'm watching Brandon. I'm super not. I just don't want to deal with severe weather tonight. I just don't. So it made the teeth line up right. See, I'm wondering if that will help too. I have an appointment, like a big girl,